Hi. First of all, I just want to say this is not me trying to, do defamation against anybody or against Chevron or any detectives of Stockton, California. This is basically my point of view and my perspective. Everything I was told and everything that was told and talked about near me and everything that I noticed. There is no defamation when it's personal experience, and there are documents of certain things. So, YouTube, I'm not falsely accusing anybody. This is literally things that have happened. There's most of the documents I do have, and somewhat I did record them. I know recording people is illegal, but they record us, I recorded them. Other than that, I would like to start off with something. My father passed away February 4 of 2019. First of all, we didn't know what was happening. My dad never comes home this late. So my mom was getting worried. She told me to wake up, and I woke up, and lo and behold, we got a call within a few hours from a detective, and that his buddy and him were going to come to our house, and it was about our father. They were not telling us what happened on the phone. And then when they got home, they told me that my father had passed away at Chevron at work. That hit my mom hard. It hit me hard too, but I had to be strong, so I talked to them. He gave me his card, one of the detectives. As I said, I'm not gonna mention his name or anything. The detective that was with him, I guess, was supposedly the one on the case, though, because his name was the name I was told originally, and then for some reason I ended up switching over to the detective that originally talked to me. They were both together. It's just one of them wasn't talking much. He was just there standing, observing for some reason. And this is where it just gets all nonsense from the get-go. They gave us multiple reasons. He said there was a baton involved and there was an altercation. And then, at some point down the line, before the 14 days before I got the report, because it had been a week or two before I got the report. Basically, within that time span, I've been given like 3-4 reasons. It could have been a robbery, was a possible altercation, it was, baton involved, just multiple little scenarios that wouldn't make much sense. And then we called the owner to figure out, the owner of the Chevron this happened at, what happened. And for some reason, we didn't even ask about this. He said there was no blood. I don't know what happened. Okay, we didn't ask you if there was blood. Why would you mention that, So that's where it got worse, and that's where we started trusting even less on what the things we were hearing. Okay, because Stockton, California is already corrupt. If detectives want to come after me, or Stockton PD, or if Stockton wants to come after me and sue me, okay, sue me. My mom and dad are already gone because of thanks to you guys. There's really nothing else I have to lose. So basically, that's what the Chevron owner was saying of that particular location, that there was no blood. I don't know what happened. They took him away, and that that's about it. That his clothing was fine too. That's what he said. We didn't even ask about the clothing. We're just asking what happened to our father, because nobody was telling us the true stories till they had already. After I got the report, I've seen that they had already seen the footage of the death, like how it had happened, what happened apparently. But they didn't think it was necessary to tell us exactly what happened, So next thing, what we were trying to do was, that same day we found out my father passed away, if we could see him or his body, or etc., before they butcher him. Yes, I call it butchering, autopsy, because they didn't let us see it. First of all, it's not really something that we do in our religion. But I understand to figure out if he was killed, how was he killed, etc. They need to do that. But in the end, it's not going to make any sense because they all turned this into a fucking heart disease or heart attack. Because they didn't let us see the body due to possible homicide reasons again. According to them, homicide reasons. Like, this is just aggravating because that's what they kept on bringing up whenever we were trying to see his body. In the end, they just turned it into a, heart disease or attack and called it a day. Okay, so basically at this point, we were trying to see his body before they butcher it, and they wouldn't let us see it. They wouldn't let my mom see it, me see it, anybody see it. So they did what they wanted, so they butchered his body. They asked us if they could search his car, aka keep his car there, somewhere, because it was on my mom's and dad's name. I'm pretty sure even if we had not consented, they were just going to keep it and, get rid of evidence or get rid of anything or, tamper with anything or do anything or look for anything. I don't know. I'm not accusing them. Maybe they were looking for something, I don't know. But you'll see why I'm, inclined to believe something else was going on as further I progress with the story of what happened. Then they decided that, that they weren't going to give us the report, the what's it called, the police report, because I went there with my mom and I took a picture of the report when I got in my car, so I have that documented too somewhere. And they wouldn't take the paper. They declined it due to possible homicide reasons, and the case wasn't closed. Even though when I actually got the report, I was told the case was closed within 7 days or something, or within February 7. I don't know if it's 7 days or February 7. I have all the documents though, so that made no sense why they didn't release the report to me then if it was already done that they had asked. In the report, it was mentioned about some, body fluid and a blood card. Now, I don't know what that is. My dad wasn't a blood donor, etc., so I'm not sure if it was a card that had blood on it or what. And then there were some tools found near my dad, which is also confusing. In the report, it's mentioned that my dad was, somebody came and sat in my dad's car, and my dad was hitting him, trying to get him out of the car, etc. And then my dad got his bag somehow, and then they went off camera, and then my dad came back, and then he collapsed, near the car, etc. Okay. You guys were telling us it's a possible homicide. There was a back and forth altercation. There was a baton used, possibly. It was possibly a robbery. I don't know how that all turns into this. And then one of the detectives even told us the body or the evidence was tampered with. Now, he didn't go into detail or tell us what it was. I believe, I'm not sure about this, so I can't be quoted. I believe I've recorded that conversation too. Yeah, it's illegal, I know. But, oh well. So that's basically what happened. At this point, that's what, we were trying to figure out what happened. And then we decided to get lawyers to help us out, which we should have done, day one or day two. But our lawyers finally, we chose to get it from a different city because Stockton is corrupt, and people can easily be bought or manipulated in Stockton. And we thought it'd be better for us to get somebody out of the city or state. City. So we chose Los Angeles for some reason, which was, not a very wise decision in the end. Basically, the law firm assured us they'd help us, that they would, get my mom compensation for what happened to my father, that, they would even ask for the video. This whole ordeal made no sense at this point. So the lawyer was basically consoling my mom. It was a representative of the law firm. I won't mention the law firm yet. At some point, I will make another video, potentially, if I'm alive. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going to happen at this point if I release this video. because a lot of weird things have happened. I'll explain that further in a bit. So basically, our lawyers, I guess, sent them something, and then their lawyers sent us something that they want the venue, I guess, the case to be held in our city, and where they're concerned with where our lawyers are, from Los Angeles, etc. And obviously, our lawyers, they're fine with coming to Stockton and handling it from here. So that just, made no sense on what their issue was exactly with that. So it was dealt with back and forth. By this time, I had gotten the report that I already mentioned what they said happened. And then I finally, sorry about that, there was a train going by. At some point, I was told that, what's it called? I had gotten the autopsy report after months. That's where they concluded it was a heart disease, and I guess, apparently, according to them, my dad had a heart attack or something, and that's how he died. Before that, our lawyers, as I stated, were trying to get us the video, and they denied us the video due to criminal activity, that there was a criminal in the video. So it was being kept as evidence at the time. How do you go from there being a criminal to that it was natural? I don't understand how this ordeal took place. You guys denied us the video. I have the report of that too in my email, and I have a video recording of one of the officers left our attorneys, at the time, a voice message, I guess, and then they also sent a letter denying the video due to criminal activity. How does it go from that to a heart attack? And then the death time was different. And then they didn't let us see the body even after they butchered it till we picked it up. Not we, but basically the place we chose to cremate my father. I just don't know what to make of this whole situation. So we had to do what we had to do, but we noticed that there were they cut my father open, obviously, But when somebody's passed away and they're dead, there's no blood flow from what I know, and there's not supposed to be, bruising. Initial impact, I understand there could have been, bruise from the initial impact that he collapsed. There were 3-4 bruises on the back of his head in different areas. A person is not a ball. They don't bounce when they hit the ground multiple times, especially the way they claim that he collapsed. It should have been one fall and that's it, not multiple 4 times, where he's just, it's ridiculous. So we took pictures of that too. And at that point, we didn't know what we could do. Our so-called lawyers were doing their best, And at first, they offered us some money if we needed it for cremation, but we had enough to cremate our father. My father. And my mom's husband. So we declined that. And then the lawyers were going back and forth. It had been a while, and then me and my mom finally decided to go to India to release our father's ashes in it's a river in India. That's where we released the ashes. And we went there and released him. And then the thing was, my mom was not, because she had been told multiple reasons of his death, She didn't know what exactly happened. She was still overthinking always, because the case was still not over. The case was technically not still closed by the detectives at the time. They still had my father's belongings that they weren't giving us. So we went there, and then my mom passed away. she stayed up for 4 or 5 days crying. For some reason, we had a maid. She didn't tell me that my mom had stayed up crying. My mom suffered a brain hemorrhage. I'm not sure of what. We took her to the doctors, and then I took her to the best doctors I could in India. She had suffered a brain hemorrhage, a very lethal brain hemorrhage. It was impossible for her to survive. They were telling me to just take her home and let her pass away, I guess. I don't know. I thought it'd be better to just keep her at the hospital, and I don't know, maybe it'd be less painful if they, I don't know. I was just hoping that they could save her, even though it was they called it a messy brain hemorrhage. I don't know, that was the term they used. But it was like they were trying to explain it to me because I don't know Punjabi and Hindi fluently. But they showed me the x-ray, and yeah, she died painfully, not knowing what happened to her husband. And then at some point, my sister, I guess, was told that we can pick up our dad's belongings, like his clothing and whatever he had on him at the last time. I was stuck in India, and then I finally came back. And then I had to take care of some other things in India. I had to go back. And then I had to get my mom's, death certificate too. Once I had come back originally here, though, I collected my father's stuff, and I noticed my dad's jacket was not there. Not on their list. Because they gave me everything packaged. Till this day, I have not gone and opened the stuff that they gave me of his. But they listed everything, and they gave me everything piece by piece, by list by list. And his jacket, he always wore a Chevron jacket. There was no Chevron jacket listed for some reason. And I asked the detective, where is the jacket? And he told me there was no jacket that we have. And I'm like, well, he wore a jacket. He wore it because it wasn't in his car either. That we had already gotten the car back, that car ended up getting towed and taken, and I don't even know where it went. I was trying to track it, but it wasn't in his car the day we got it back. His car, however, had some grass on it for some reason, even though it wouldn't go through grassy area, and then it had a scratch. It had like a heavy mark in the glass area of the driver side, which rose other suspicions in my eyes because they don't mention my dad, collapsing against the car like with his anything hard. So I'm not sure how that mark got there, but yeah, basically the detective was being rude to me, telling me if I don't take it now that they would destroy it, etc. That it would get destroyed. And it's not on them, etc. So, because I didn't want to take it without the jacket, but then they forced me to do signatures on the items that I'm collecting and didn't give me proof that I signed, because it's, confidential. If this is all a heart attack, what is being hidden exactly? What is being confidential? Why can I not have copy of what I've signed that you've released to me? So, and by saying that they would destroy it possibly, I had to take it basically. Like, I can't just let them take, last things of my father. During this whole ordeal, we had asked around the neighborhood too. There's 4 guys that I knew that were by my dad's workplace, and those guys basically said that nobody's going to tell us anything right now, but something has happened. And there was also a few people that said they heard gunshots, and there were at least 2 people that said they saw 2 body bags, not 1. it just has made no sense. The news article didn't even acknowledge my father as a Chevron employee. There were two articles, I believe, and both of them said that there was a body found near Chevron. Not that it was a Chevron employee that passed away at Chevron due to possible homicide reasons, but just a body found near Chevron. I tried calling them too, but they said, why did I call so late, even though it had only been a few weeks. That was their answer. They were not going to fix that he was a Chevron employee and that the was possible homicide or reasons. That's what I was told. So I had gone to India for a second round after collecting my dad's belongings. My mother's already passed away. I had gone and to take care of things, rituals, and then get her death certificate. And our lawyers finally got the final result, I guess, for them, that it is in fact a heart attack for some reason. That's what they concluded. Mind you, that the detective never told me if the case is closed or not. From what I'm aware, it's still open. It could be closed. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out now. First time our lawyer was told we're only getting around $5,000 for compensation. $5,000. And then one of my siblings over here was, well, I only have one sibling, but I don't want to reveal any gender or etc. So I'm just gonna say sibling. My sibling was handling things here. They got, for some reason they said that's ridiculous. I mean, 5,000. And then they said 50,000. So from 5,000 they go to 50,000. And then my sibling said 150,000. Because our mother had passed away at this point, and the sibling thought it wouldn't be possible. It'd be more difficult if we wanted to go over certain, some reason they, agreed to 150,000. So they go from 5,000 to 150,000, which is already odd. And then our lawyers were telling us that they'd help us, get the money and, get it on our name, etc., or, cash it. They'll do something. They didn't help. They didn't help at all. They took their portion of the money, which was around $22,000, and then they left us with a check that we can't cash or use. Well, from what I believe, the case is supposed to be turned into a state battle or something. And if you can't handle that, you're supposed to release the case to somebody else or something. A different lawyer. This law firm did not do anything to help us at the end when our mother had passed away. And personally, to me, it's not even about the money. If I had gotten the money, I would have used it for, investigator or something, etc., to look more into the case. Because considering, they didn't let me see my dad's footage of, dying. They didn't, have the correct times. There was 3 different times. They told us multiple stories. They weren't even acknowledging it, that he was a Chevron employee. And, all this shady stuff since the beginning, and butchering his body before we could even see it. I just wanted to use the money to personally hire detectives. Because, saying there was criminal activity and possible homicide, and there's a criminal in the video, that's why they can't release it. Even one of the detectives, I had questioned him, why aren't they showing the video to the people if that, there is a criminal? He's like, well, do you want the criminal to get away or something? We can't just show the video. The criminal will get alerted. What kind of BS is this? This whole case has made no sense. And then these lawyers, they had said they'd help us, right? And then they said at the end they couldn't. Then, they had me send my information, my mom's death certificate, etc. They even had us send them the check back. They kept the check for a week or a few more than a week. And then they, for some reason, said they couldn't do anything about it. And they, released the check back to us. They didn't release it back to us, first of all. They said they couldn't do anything about it, so they were going to send the check back to the company. That's what they said. Then we said if they could just send it back to us and we can try doing it our way, So they sent the check back to us. We've been trying for months to figure out how to, you get the funds from the check. Because my mother's passed away, the check's on our mother's name. It's like it's around 100,000, and it's like, it's just whole story makes no sense. My father died at Chevron as a Chevron employee. He was not acknowledged as a Chevron employee in the articles. Was told multiple death stories. Was told that it was a possible homicide as well. Was told there's a criminal in the video and denied the video to view what happened to my father. And the words of what the detectives told me and the stories told me did not match the report at all. And they had seen the report before actually, talking to me. So, not a report, they had seen the video before talking to me. The fact my father is listed at a different death time on all three, on the report is a different death time, on the, the autopsy is a different death time, on the, death certificate's a different death time, which the coroners told them that death time, I'm pretty sure. So it makes no sense on how the death times got mixed up. Because the autopsy report was given to us way later, before the coroners got their time. Not the coroners, the people that, the funeral services that handled the death. I'm pretty sure it did not take them 6+ months to figure out when my father died. What time? Considering there was video evidence that they had the body, they butchered it without our, acknowledgement. I'm not sure what to do. We have $100,000 plus check that's basically null right now. It's just chilling. There's nothing we can do with it. I don't know what happened to my father. I don't know what to do to figure out what happened to my father exactly. Why can't they let me see the video? Why haven't they shown me the video? Why did they tell me all these multiple stories? Why is Stockton PD so corrupt? Why is Stockton detectives so corrupt? Why is Stockton, this city in California, so damn corrupt? What did my father do exactly? All he did was work during his whole life. All he did was work. My mom and I didn't get to see my father till they cut him up and, sewed him back together. They didn't even do that properly. There were bumps on my father's head. I was told multiple stories of what happened. How am I supposed to believe a report that they gave me? Why can't I have seen the video? Why was there a supposed criminal in the video in the first place? And then at the end, all this loops around and they just put it to that it's a heart attack or some sort of heart condition that killed my father on the spot. Even if we go with that terms, my father wasn't just standing and had a heart attack. According to their, report, there was a person that was there. He caused my father to, then there was apparently a thing where they went out of the camera view. There were other businesses around. There were other places around. These police officers, these detectives could have gotten that video evidence if they were doing their job properly. What exactly happened to my father? Who killed him? Because I can't believe that, he just, after all this, and it took a month to just tell me that, just give me that report. But they told me these multiple stories. And then even one of their detectives said the body and the evidence was tampered. What the heck does that mean exactly? My mother passed away grieving my father. She had a brain hemorrhage. Who knows how she died, how painful it was. The lawyers that we had appointed fucked us over. They took their money and ran. They said they would help us get the video. They said they would help us with the further steps. They had even known my mother's passed away, yet they kept on telling us they would get the money on our name, they'll transfer it, they'll talk to the what they need to do, etc. All they did this was so they could get their cut and get out. They committed fraud, basically. In my opinion, I believe that's fraud. How the heck are you going to take money and run away and leave us with a check that can't even be used when you were the ones that said that you would help us get it? Or, help us. Because the only way I could see getting anything done in this corrupt city is by hiring a good attorney or a good, investigator. And for that, I need money. I can't just do that, because I have nothing right now. Nobody's going to do this kind of case contingency based. I don't know what I'm doing with my life right now. They've already taken everything away from me. My parents are gone. All this shady stuff is going on. All this way, the way this all took place. It's just too much. Like, there's a lot more that I have to say, but I don't know. I've said a lot, but there's still some things I probably left out. Because I'm just aggravated. I'm so beat up. I have nothing left. If Chevron wants to come after me, if Stockton PD, if detectives want to sue me for defamation, if Stockton police sees this, if Chevron sees this, you know what? Go ahead, sue me, come after me. I got nothing for you. You can throw me in prison for telling the truth.